Hi guys, this is Angela from Panda Kisses, and we are going to be making this herringbone zipper bag by Parker on the Porch. And I just wanted to show you, this is one that I have tested. This is the biggest one. It's 8 by 12 hoop size. That's the design this one is. And I wanted to share a quick little tip. There's lots of different coordinating fabrics that make this bag really cute. And I was going to say these little stacks are really valuable for this bag because they already come in like matching colors, so it's really cute on a bag and you don't have to try pull that many colors together. It kind of does it for you. And I got these at my Walmart. My Walmart has these, but Joann's has these little packs too. You can use those too. I just wanted to say that's like a little tip. The other thing you can get are these strips. These strips do work. This came in a pack of strips only. The only thing about these strips, they're really cute and they all coordinate. The only thing is they're not going to be wide enough. They weren't wide enough to do this corner for me. I had to use bigger fabric, and it's not big enough to do your base pieces. Like this isn't big enough, the liner and the back. So you have to, if you're going to use these, you have to coordinate some other fabrics. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to use these strips. And we're going to use this fabric, and then I've already cut this fabric, but we're going to be using this as the liner as well. So I just wanted to let you know that's a little tip. You might want to go buy some of these, and they're really helpful. So I'm going to meet you at the machine, and we are going to stitch out the 6x6 design, and I will see you over there. Guys, we are all set up. I have the 8x8 hoop on, I think, because I'm going to make the 6x6 bag. This is one sheet of tearaway. And we are going to start. Our first step is to always just go ahead and do that placement step. Stitch it directly onto your tearaway. I'll come back and show you. This is what it looks like. It went ahead and did the placement stitch. Now it did the placement stitch so you can measure your fabric, but it also gives you the zipper placement right here, and that's our next step. So I'm going to take this zipper, and what you need to decide is which way you want your zipper to open. If you want a zipper from this direction, then you're going to place it this way. Your zipper pull on this side. If you want it to go the other way, just flip your zipper like this. Now, I'm going to pull this out. The way you place this zipper is you just make sure that your zipper is between these two lines. Your zipper teeth line up along this middle line right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I always kind of just line it up to the bottom right here, because I can see that all the way across. And when I get that exactly where it should be, where it's just lined up along the bottom, you can go ahead and tape either side. Just make sure your zipper pulls out of the way and make sure your zipper's long enough that these two things are out of the stitch line right here, because it's going to stitch here. But once that's set, you can tape either side, and then you're going to run the next step right there, which is step 2. It's going to go ahead and tack down your zipper. It's basically just going to stitch a line right here and then jump over and stitch a line right here, tacking your zipper directly to your stabilizer. I actually just kind of hold it, but you're more than welcome to tape it. I will come back and show you what it looks like. Hey guys, this is what your zipper looks like. It is tacked down. It went ahead and stitched on either side of the zipper teeth. And so just a tip to do is to go ahead and open your zipper a little bit and then take a pin, and right on that zipper line, you can just like mark right there. What that's gonna do is later when we do the liner, you're gonna know exactly what line to line it up on. Sometimes it gets confusing with all these stitch lines to know exactly where to line up your liner. So I always kind of tend to draw in mine so I can find out where it is. Okay, so that's just a little tip you can do so you're not looking for it later. So now what we're going to do is measure our fabric, and the way that I do that, the first piece that we put on is the same for all the other bags. We're going to put this bottom piece on first, and we're going to do the whole front. So I take a ruler, I just measure from the zipper line down here, and then I double that measurement. And you have to get it wide enough, but I double that measurement because I fold my fabric completely in half. And I'm going to show you that. If you've watched any of my fabric bags, I get a true double, a little bit bigger than a double. Then I fold it in half, and then you get a clean edge. You need a clean edge because woven fabric frays. You can't just put this edge next to the zipper. It'd be all frayed and it would ruin your bag. It would get stuck in the zipper and it'd look bad right away. So you need a clean edge. So there's two ways to do that. You can do a true double like me. I think it's easier to get a straight line, and it gives your bag more thickness, which I like. So I go ahead and get one that's big enough to go like that. And I leave some excess down here because you need a little bit of fabric when we're flipping our bag. Now, the next side, so you need this piece. This will be the front of our bag. This piece actually is going to be what's showing right here, the black and white stripes. That's what's going to be showing. Okay, and then the next piece you need is up here, which is the front of your bag. Now, I'm not going to use the same fabric. I'm going to do something different like I did here. See how this one's green? We're measuring for this fabric up here. So I went ahead and took one of the strips, one of these coordinating strips. Now, these strips were not big enough to do a true double, so I'm going to show you the other way you can do it. You can just take a small edge like this. Let me move that over. You can take your fabric and just make one little small edge. You'll still accomplish your clean edge right here. You're just not using as much fabric. You don't need a true double. So that's what I'm going to do for the top. Those are the two ways you can get your clean edge. You can either use more fabric so it's thicker, or you can, if you want to reserve your fabric, you can just do a line like that. So then you have this piece that's going to be right there. And all I did was measure from the zipper line here up to where you see the placement stitches. And I went ahead and did that. So that one will go up there. Now you need a piece of the back, whatever is going to be your back, like this piece. I'm going to make that the same gray polka dot. So you need a piece that is this entire length and this entire width, but you do not need to double it because this doesn't need a clean edge. It's not going next to your zipper. So I just have a full piece right here. So there you go. We have that piece. So you have your front of your bag. You need 3 pieces for the front and back of your bag. That's the outside of your bag. Then you need the exact same sizes for your liner. So I did the exact same thing. Here's my liner piece. Here's my true double for the inside liner piece. And then here's another one that is folded for the top. I did a true double for the top here just because I had enough fabric. Okay, so you need 3 liner pieces. And you need 3 outside pieces. Now your outside pieces, the liner, I don't put any interfacing on it at all. I just get the right size. But for my outside pieces, the front of my bag, I actually use some interfacing. So right here, I'll show you. This is what I use. It's lightweight fusible interfacing. And basically, it just has some little glue-like type balls right here. That's the rough side is the side that you iron onto your fabric. So you can see that I did this here. I only do it on half of the fabric. So you can see there's some interfacing on the bottom part of this fabric. You just put the rough side down on the wrong side of your fabric and iron it. And it just gives your bag more stability so it's not so flimsy. It's just giving it more weight is all it is. So I put interfacing on this piece. I also put interfacing on the top outside of my bag. You can see there's interfacing on here. And you do that. And then I put interfacing on the back of my bag piece. So all the outside pieces of my bag have interfacing. The liners do not. Okay, now that we have all our fabrics, we're going to go ahead and start our fabric. The first thing, like I said, we're going to be putting the bottom part of the front of our bag on right here. It's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I picked this polka dot fabric. So I am going to line this up right next to my zipper, right under, I'll pull this out so you can see, right underneath my zipper, right there. Okay. Now, once it's lined up right underneath your zipper, you're going to go ahead and run step 3, and it's going to go ahead and just go around the same placement line right there, and it's going to tack your fabric down to your stabilizer. This is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked it down. Now, the next step is to go ahead and place your front of your fabric up here. So we measured these butterflies, and we're going to put these right up next to your zipper. Just get it straight next to your zipper. And now we're going to go ahead and run step 4, and it's just going to do the same thing. It's going to run along this line, tacking this fabric to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. I'll come back and show you. See that it tacked it down right there. Now we're going to start doing these diagonal fabrics. You can see this is the very next one. So we're going to go ahead and stitch the placement stitch right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start step 5, and it's just going to stitch it directly onto here. You don't have to do anything else. Okay guys, you can see that it did the placement stitch right here. So you need a piece of fabric that's big enough to go over this, but you're going to be folding it over so you don't see the stitch line. So you need it a little bit bigger. I think Jen was saying that she wanted 3/4 of an inch or something like that. I'm just going to go ahead. So here's my fabric. I have a strip, and I'm not doing any interfacing or anything. I'm going to put it just like this. So you basically want it over the stitch line. You'll understand in a minute. Don't cut it too short so it pulls out. You want it over here a little bit. So I'm just going to do like right there. Now the next step, we're putting it, now here's the other thing. This is the right side of your fabric. You want the right sides together. So this is the right side of my fabric, so the right side's facing down. We are gonna flip it, and I'll show you that next. So what the next step's gonna do is just gonna stitch a line right here, just the top line, tacking this down. That top line is gonna stitch there. Then you're gonna fold your fabric over like this, so you don't see the stitches. So it's basically hiding the stitches inside there is what we're trying to accomplish. So give yourself a little bit of room so you're not too close to it and it pulls out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stitch that, step 6, and I'll come back and I'll show you what I mean. There you go. It went ahead and stitched the line right here. You can see that we have some excess. It's not too close to the stitches. That's what I was meaning. Give yourself some excess room so you're not like, this doesn't pull out of your stitches. If you do way too long, you can also go ahead and cut this now. It wouldn't matter, but I'm going to just leave it. That looks good. Now for the next step, you are going to flip this over. Do not pull too hard. It doesn't have to be super, super tight. You just want it straight and how it should look. So just like that. Now you can tape this end and you can tape this end so it stays. I kind of just put my hands here and there while it stitches. What it's going to stitch next, I'm going to show you the shape right there. So it's going to go ahead and tack this down from the corners. So it's going to go like this. It's going to go here, follow this outside line over and there. What this does is it hides these stitch lines so you don't see the stitches on your herringbone pattern. So it's really clever. So that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want it held down like this, either with tape or your hands, and stitch the next step, and I'll come show you what that looks like. So it went ahead and stitched that down. Now I'm going to cut this excess fabric off just so it's out of my way. You do not need it, so I'm just going to cut like this, and I'm also going to cut some of this. Don't get too close so it pulls the stitches out, but you're going to have fabric laying over this, and you don't want your bag too bulky, so I'm going to go ahead and cut. It doesn't have to be real straight because you won't see this. I'm just going to get it out of the way. Sorry, I'm doing this one-handed. Make sure you don't cut that top fabric. There you go. Okay, so you just kind of just roughly, in the end, it's going to be covered and you're not going to see it, but you want to get some of that bulk out of there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run the next step. The next step is just going to do the next fabric. It's just going to go that direction. So that's the placement stitch. So go ahead and run step 8 and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's that placement stitch. Now your placement stitch is going to come down this way right here. I just kind of use my hand. I keep them out of the way of the needle, but I just make sure that my needle doesn't catch on here. It comes down here and then it comes back up like this. If this fabric isn't held down, it's going to pull it up on over this. So make sure you just either have this taped down, or I just always kind of just put my hand right here so it goes all the way up. So watch that so this fabric doesn't get folded up like this and stitched on. Okay, so keep that in mind. So we're on the next one. So we're going to go ahead. There's your placement stitch. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So I have another strip. I'm going to put it right sides together, so the right side facing down. I'm going to line it up along this top line because that's where it's going to go. Get it up here. Okay, and you're just going to get it just like before. You're just going to get it somewhat over just kind of like that. It doesn't have to be super precise. And now it's going to go ahead and run that tack down line right here again, and then we're going to go ahead and fold it over. So go ahead and stitch step 9. It's going to just stitch that step right there, the straight line, and I'll come back and show you that. Okay guys, that's what it looks like. So now you can just pull it down like this. Get it straight how you would want it to be. You can tape your edges if you want to. The next step's going to go ahead and do that same shape where it's going to come down here and it's going to stitch this down to hold it down. So just get it how you want it. You don't have to pull real tight, and go ahead and stitch step 10. I'll come back and show you mine. Okay, that's what it looks like so far. So I'm going to take scissors and I'm going to clean this up again, just get some of this out of here. And same with up here. And then I'm going to cut some of this down here just because it's going to be covered, but you don't want this many layers because this is going to be a lot of overlapping. So you're going to get some of it, just not too close. Okay, so just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back on my machine. Now we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is the next placement stitch that's going to go down here, and show you it up here on my screen. It's just going to go ahead and do the next strip. We're just going to keep repeating this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next placement, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, here's the placement. It's this right here, that shape. So you're going to go ahead and take your next fabric. I'm going to use this. Place it right sides together, so facing down. You're going to line it up towards this top line right here that just stitched. You're just going to get it kind of like that. You're going to go ahead and run step 12, which is going to do that straight line for you. And I will come back and show you that. Okay guys, that's what it looks like right there. So we're going to do like we did before. We're just going to fold it down. And now we're going to either tape the sides or hold it, and it's going to go ahead and do the rest of the tack down right here. So you just want to get it how you want it to be, like that. And then you're going to run the next step, step 13, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it again. Just get some of this fabric out of here. Okay. Oops, messy. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do the next step, which is step 14, and it's going to go ahead and do the placement stitch for right here. Now remember to hold your fabrics down so it doesn't flip up on itself, because if you're not watching it, it will do that. So just make sure you're watching where it's going, and you're either taping or holding it down, or if you really wanted to, you could put a piece of WSS water stabilizer over it so it runs smoothly over it. It's not necessary if you just watch it really well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 14. I'll come back and show you. There, it went ahead and did your placement stitch right there. So you need a piece of fabric lined up face down up here. And you need to, there's a couple tips, 2 tips that I wanted to mention right here. One, I'm one-handed, so I'm not doing it on camera, but basically I get it about lined up, then I pull it above this thing straight. If you have directional fabric like these stripes and stuff, you don't want them all wonky and sideways, so make sure you're watching your directional fabric. Make sure when you get there, like this one doesn't really matter, but my stripes did. I pull it like this, and then I take both sides. I only have one hand right now, so I can't do it. But I pull equal distance, so I'm not just all sideways. I try to pull it straight, so it's going to look nice for this tack down, and then when you pull it over, it's matched up. The other thing, if your fabric is see-through, meaning you can see your other fabric below, right now all my fabric hasn't been that. It's dark enough that you can't see like the polka dots. But on my other bag, those black stripes were really dark, and most of the fabric I was looking at, you could see the stripes through it. If you have that problem, I suggest you do a double. And the way that you would do that, you can put interfacing in it too if you want to. But the other way you could do it is you can do a double. You can put your fabric, you would need wider than this. Say this was bigger. You would put your fabric all the way across this line, the whole piece like this. and then do the next step that's going to stitch that line, and then pretend you have more fabric up here. Then you would do a fold over, and it would be the full piece like this. So you would have two sides of the fabric, and then the fabric, this fabric underneath wouldn't show. I hope that makes sense. That would help you not see through your fabric. My fabric's working out pretty well here, so I don't have to do that. But that's how I would do it if my fabric was see-through and I could see that, like, the polka dots through it or something. Okay, so I just line up. So that's the two things. You line it up, pull it straight, watch your directional fabric. If it is see-through and you're seeing like the polka dots through this, then go ahead and do a true double. Pull it all the way over here, let it do the one line, and then fold it over for a true double. But you need wider fabric than this, then you're gonna have to double it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stitch the line, and I'll come back and show you. Hey guys, there it is. Now we're gonna do just like we did before. You're gonna pull it down like this, and now we're gonna get it smooth, tape it down, hold it, whichever you prefer, and we're gonna go ahead and stitch the next step, which is step 16. It's just gonna go ahead and tack this down right here. Okay, I will be right back and show you. Guys, that's what it looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and trim again. Okay, we got it all trimmed. Now we're gonna go ahead and put it back on our machine. And now we're gonna do these corners. Okay, so the next step's gonna go ahead and do the placement step. You see right here, step 17, the placement step for this left corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that. I'll come back and show you. Okay, there's the placement stitch, and we're gonna do exactly what we've been doing this whole time. You're gonna take the right side, trying to figure out what's the right side of this fabric. You're gonna put it face down, right side's face down along this top line. And then you're gonna go ahead and stitch the line, which is step 18, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, there's the line. You're gonna go ahead and pull this down. And now the next step is just gonna stitch this corner. It's gonna tack it down. So go ahead and pull this down, hold it or tape it, and go ahead and stitch step 19. I'll come back and show you. Okay, that's what it looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and do the placement stitch over here, step 20. I'll come back and show you. It went ahead and did the placement stitch right there. Put the right side of your fabric facing the right side of the fabric. So we're gonna put it like that, right sides together over that line, and it's gonna go ahead and tack that down, step 21. Okay, that's what that line looks like. Then you just go ahead and pull it down like this. Okay, hold it or tape it, and go ahead and run step 22, which is gonna go ahead and tack that down. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right now. I'm gonna actually cut some of this off. You do not have to, but it will get cut off later, but it just gets in my way, and I don't want it to get caught in other things. So I'm gonna go ahead and just trim this. Now this white was a little bit see-through, and I can see a little bit of the color, so I probably should have did that double thing I told you guys about, but it's not too bad. I can see a little bit of the pink on the right hand side, but it's looking pretty cute. So now we're gonna go ahead and do our liner, and I probably should have brought my liner over here, which I didn't, so I'll be right back. Okay, so we are done with this front portion, and I didn't add anything to this. If you wanted to add a monogram, or if you were adding something that you were stitching, like any letters or words on the front, this is when you would do it, because now we are talking about putting our liners on. You would want to do it before you put your liner on, but I'm adding nothing to mine. So we're going to go ahead and flip. This is the front of our hoop. We're going to go ahead and flip it upside down. This is where this line comes in handy that I went ahead and drew, because now we're going to put our liner in here, and you're going to do this bottom portion of your liner first. So we've already prepped our liner. You're going to take your straight edge, and you're going to go ahead and place it right underneath this line right here that I drew on. See right there, that's the zipper line. That is the zipper teeth line. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and place this right up next to that line. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tape it. This is on the bottom of your hoop. I just use regular old Scotch tape. It works fine. It's cheap, easy, it's on a roll. The holders are there, which are nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and tape this down just so it stays secure and it doesn't come up on you. Now, if you are trying to save steps and stuff, you could put this other liner on right here, and then you stitch this step, and then you go ahead and stitch that step. They're already both on here taped versus taking it off of your hoop twice. You can do that. I do that all the time for the tutorial's sake. I'm not going to do it so I can show you both steps. So you go ahead and put this on and then go ahead and stitch, and then come back and we'll put this on and go ahead and stitch. When I do it not in a video, I tape them both on to save time, and then I stitch this one. I just tape it good. I stitch this one, and then I kind of lift my hoop and make sure that this one didn't move and it's still all in place, and then I stitch the next step right away. But for the tutorial, I'll show you it step by step. So that's just a hint to make it go faster if you're doing it on your own. So let's go to the machine and I'll show you what we're doing. We are on the machine. I look underneath. Once I put it on, I look underneath to make sure my tape stayed good and my design, my fabric's still on right, and it is. So we're gonna go ahead and run step 23, which is basically gonna tack that liner to the front of your bag. So we're gonna go ahead and run that. The only thing you really have to watch, this has already all been stitched on. Just make sure this doesn't go up and get stitched in there. You just kind of gotta watch. You could put a piece of tape on these right now just so that it doesn't get caught in your design. Just kind of be aware of where these sticking up fabrics are, okay? So I'm going to run that. I'll come back. Okay, I went ahead and tacked that down, you can see. So now we're going to take this smaller piece, the clean edge, put it on the other side of that zipper line right there. And we're going to go ahead and tape that down. Okay, we're all taped down. Now we're going to go back to our machine and run the next step, which is going to tack this down. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. This is what the front of our bag looks like. This is what the back of our, this is the inside, this is our liner, but this is what the bottom of our hoop looks like. So we're at the step, we are going to go ahead and put the back of our bag on the front of our bag. So we're going to be doing this, right sides together, and it's going to be completely enclosing this bag. Now the only way to flip this bag is if you open this zipper. You got to open the zipper right now. Always open your zipper before you put the back of your bag on the front of your bag. So we're going to go ahead and open this, and you're going to open it far enough over that you can turn your bag through this zipper hole, but not so far that the foot of your machine will hit this zipper pole. So keep it on the inside where your foot can still pass along this line. Okay, so this is also where you're going to add things. If you're going to add purse straps, if you're going to add little different little doodad things on here, you want to do that right now. So I'm going to actually add two things to this bag. I'm going to add, this is fold over elastic. People call it faux, F-O-E, fold over elastic. It's just stretchy elastic. This one has like little gray roses on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this little tag thing that just kind of adds a little design down here. Now, whatever you want to keep on your bag, put on your bag, you want to go on the inside, because we're going to be cutting all around this bag. So that's the way to remember that whatever you want kept needs to go on the inside. So I'm going to do this little loop is what I want. It will flip later when you flip the bag. But right now I'm going to put this little loop right here. So I'm just going to have this cute little loop at the bottom. And then you can line it up. The little stitch lines right here, that's where it's going to sew, and that's where it's going to tack. So you can see how big you want it. So line it up with that. So I'm going to put mine right there. So I'm just going to take some tape and I'm going to tape that down. And that's just going to be like a little decorative loop down there. But then I'm also going to add this little ring with a bigger piece of fold over elastic, same one. So I'm going to go ahead and put it through. And then you're going to place this where you want it. You can place it anywhere on the outside, on this outside line. You could put it up here. It would be this way. You put it right here. You could put it anywhere you want. It will go ahead and work. I kind of always put it along this zipper line. So I'm going to go ahead and do like right there. And that's about how big I want, how far away from the bag I want it. If you want it longer, you would just make it longer like that. You'd put it in more so you have more of your fold over elastic on the outside. I want mine kind of short, so I'm going to put it like right there. Okay. If you were doing like purse loops on here, you'd probably be putting them up here more center. So you would be, say this, I'm going to just take more fold over elastic, say this is your purse strap. You would be putting them like this. You would have both of your edges out there like that, and then you'd be taping this in the center. And that's how you would do it. Okay, so we're all set. I have the things on here I want. My zipper's open. So what you need to do now is you're going to take the back of your bag. This is the fabric I got. I'm going to take the right sides and put them together. So this is the right side and this is the right side. I'm going to make sure that I completely get over all of these placement stitch lines over the whole entire bag. And then I'm going to make sure that I have a little bit of extra. Okay, right there. Okay, so we are all set. I'm going to go over the machine. I'm going to run the next step, and it's basically just going to enclose this whole bag. So I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, guys, that's what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched all the way around, enclosing the front of this bag. So this is the front of our hoop. You want to flip it over to the back. And then you're going to take, this is your other piece of liner. These are your liners. You're going to take the right sides of your liner and put them together like this. Okay, and then we're going to tape all the way around. Now basically the next stitch is going to do the same thing. It's going to stitch all the way around this outer box, except for it's going to leave a little hole right here that we're going to flip through. So it's going to stitch like this, and then it's going to go back, but it's going to leave a hole. So I always leave a little bit of excess liner fabric down here because later you have to close that hole. So I'm going to line it up kind of like that. Make sure this isn't directional. It is kind of directional. Funny. Yeah, good thing I did it. These kind of are more oval than round, so I actually want to place it this way. Yeah, watch your directional fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and tape all the way around. I'm just going to do a couple more pieces, to make sure it doesn't flip up on itself. Okay, so we are ready to go back to the machine, and we are going to run the very last step, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, here's what it looks like. Here's the front of your hoop. We are now done stitching. Here's the back of your hoop. It went ahead and did that same outline, but leaving a hole right here. So you can now take this off of your hoop because we are done stitching. And mine was really tight. I had a hard time getting it on. Okay. Okay, now I take off all the stabilizer that I can just to get it out of here. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and trim the edges. You're going to want kind of heavy duty scissors because you're cutting through zippers and stuff. I always watch this side, the side that has the hole, because this is just all solid. I like to leave an extra little flap right here. So I'll show you. I always start down here when I cut. You're just going to go ahead and cut. I cut at an angle like this up to the stitch line. Okay, and then I turn. Just don't cut your stitch lines because that would be bad. After all that work, you don't want to cut that, so be careful. And then just cut all the way around. It doesn't have to be super pretty because it's going to be flipped inside out anyways. Okay, and then when I get down to this side, I get up to that stitch line and then I turn the opposite direction and cut out as well. Now the only thing you need are the two liners, so I'm going to have these two liners right there where the hole, here's the hole. You want these two liners and then you can cut the rest of this bulk off. So I'm going to cut it. Be kind of careful not to cut your stitch lines here. But I'm going to get some of this out because it just gets in your way. Okay, so I went ahead and cut all that off. I still have these two pieces. Okay, so the first thing you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to flip your bag through this hole. Be kind of careful. Don't just hurry up and do it because this is just woven, held by these few stitches, and it will tear. So kind of be kind of careful. And I just put my thumbs in and I just start pushing the corners from up here. I kind of push them through. It's pretty easy to turn when you're just using woven fabric. It's a little harder if you're using vinyl, depending on which vinyl, but you do have quite a few layers in here, so it does make it a little bulkier, but you just want to get it all the way flipped, which I kind of did. You don't have to do it super perfect because you have to flip it again, but you want to get it good enough that you can get the right shape because we're going to be closing this hole real quick. Now you can use tools like this. This is like a chopstick type thing. This is actually a turning system for sewing, but chopstick works. The end of an eraser would work. Be kind of careful so you don't push through your fabric when you're trying to get these corners. Okay, so just kind of get the general shape because we're going to turn it again. We're just going to close this hole right now. So you have a hole right now. You can see here's your hole. Now this is at the inside and the bottom of your bag, so it's really not going to be very noticeable. You could go ahead and ladder stitch. Some people use a sewing machine. I use glue. I use this fabric tack glue. It dries really fast. It's super inexpensive for how much you get, and it's easy to use. So this is what I'm going to use. So what I start off doing first is I fold this in side, and then you have this line right here. I try to fold over this line. I try to not see this line, so I try to glue over that. And then I take this side and fold this side in. So you're kind of like going to sandwich the two fabrics together. This is why I leave excess. So I'm going to go ahead and get it where this covers there. And then I'm going to just take like these little wonder clip things and hold it and just get it all how I want it first. Okay, there, and then there. So you can see you kind of get it how you want it. And then we're going to go ahead and glue it. I'm going to get this glue down real quick first. Okay, so it's already kind of coming out. It comes out clear. So I'm going to remove one of these. I'm just going to open it up a little bit so I can get the glue in there. I'm going to get the strip off real quick because it's kind of big. I'm going to drip all over. Okay, and I'm just going to get the glue in here. I'm just going to run it all the way along the edge. And then I'm going to sandwich it together. You see there's kind of some excess. If I have excess, I just take some of my scraps and I wipe the edge. And then I just sandwich it some more. Make sure the edge is really clean. And then I just take a clip and put it back on. And then I go ahead and open the next part and glue there. And do the same thing all the way across. Okay, last part. This thing's like coming out. Okay. There you go. Now I'm going to let this sit about 3 to 5 minutes. It does not take very long at all to dry. Okay, so I'm going to let it sit like this for 3 to 5 minutes. While it's sitting, I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the stabilizer. So if you flip your bag over, this is where your zipper is. If you pull it, your zipper opens. Now, if you didn't open that zipper, this would not open. Your zipper would still be closed and you wouldn't be able to turn it again. So that's why that's so important. So I have some stabilizer here. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up the stabilizer. There is a placement stitch in here. So you can see there's like an actual stitch stream. Just go ahead and pull that. You can cut it if you'd rather. I always just pull it. But just know you're not breaking your bag. You just pull that out. So go ahead and clean this up, and then I'll come back and show you what we do next. Okay, guys, this is all cleaned up, and these are probably dry by now. So you can see that it's a clean edge. You're not really going to see it anyways. It's the bottom of your bag, and it's the inside, but it's super clean, super easy. So now we're going to flip through our zipper. So go ahead and just do the same thing we did before and just flip it through. I'm going to use my hands to get this corner out. Okay, now when I get it mostly out, I'm going to start using my turning system again to get these corners all the way out. Iron on. Okay. I'm going to get it all flattened. Okay, we are done. Now normally I would like iron this and make it all pretty, so you should probably iron it. Okay, but this is what it looks like. You can see that here's my little fob thing that I put here. I can hook stuff to. And then here's my little loop thing, just a little added detail. But you can see your cute herringbone stripes are here. And your top, it looks super cute. And then we can open the zipper. And you can see your full liner. There's no exposed seams. They're all enclosed, so you don't see anything. If you stitch stuff on the outside, you wouldn't see any of the stitches. So super cute. I can't wait to see all the different color coordinations that you guys do with these bags. They're super cute. So this one is the 6x6 hoop size for the design. And I'll show you this other one. I made this one too. This is more the square one. This is more the vertical or the horizontal one. So this one is the 8x12. This is the biggest size. And then this is a 6x6. So you can see the size difference. But they are super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that it helps you make this bag. Let me know if you have any questions, and subscribe if you want to do the little bell if you want to be notified when I do new tutorials. But this is what we got. Hope you enjoy it.